Ambassador Vex of the Galactic Council straightened his ceremonial robes for the third time, mandibles twitching with anxiety. Today marked the most significant diplomatic event in centuries. Earth, the infamous Class 12 Death World, was finally sending a representative to the Council after decades of isolation. The massive chamber hummed with the nervous energy of 200 species. Some delegates had evolved on gentle worlds with perpetual spring. Others came from gas giants or methane seas. None had originated from anything remotely like Earth, a planet so hazardous that most spacefaring races designated it absolutely uninhabitable. "They're coming through the teleportation bay," whispered Trill, Vex's assistant, antennae quivering. "The human ambassador has arrived." The chamber fell silent. Vex had studied human diplomatic protocols extensively. He expected formal attire, an entourage of advisors, perhaps even ceremonial weapons as the Droken delegates often carried. The teleportation pad hummed to life, particles swirling into a humanoid shape. As the light faded, the council got their first look at humanity's chosen representative. A tall male human materialized, wearing what appeared to be fabric foot coverings with exposed toes. His lower limbs were covered in faded blue material, while his upper body sported a colorful garment displaying the phrase "beach bum." In one hand he held a stick with some sort of golden-brown food item impaled on it. He was chewing. "Hey folks," the human said casually, taking another bite. "I'm Dave. Earth sent me. Sorry about the casual getup. Got pulled straight from my vacation when they needed a volunteer. This corn dog is amazing, by the way. Anyone want a bite?" The silence in the chamber deepened to something approaching horror. Vex stepped forward, trying desperately to salvage the situation. "Most honored Earth Ambassador Dave, we welcome you to—" "Just Dave is fine," the human interrupted, looking around with undisguised curiosity. "Wow, you folks really went all out with the architecture here. Those crystal things on the ceiling, are they natural or synthetic?" The Merle delegate, a being of pure energy, flickered in what could only be interpreted as offense. The architecture had been designed by their ancestors. "Ambassador Dave," Vex tried again, "perhaps we should proceed with formal introductions." Before, a commotion erupted near the Zendar delegation. One of their security drones had malfunctioned, its weapons systems coming online with an ominous hum. Before anyone could react, the drone shot toward Dave, plasma cutter glowing. Several delegates screamed. The Zendar representatives frantically worked their control panels. Security protocols would take at least 30 seconds to activate. Far too long. Dave's reaction was unexpected. He sidestepped the drone with casual ease, flipped his corn dog into his other hand, and grabbed the machine mid-air. With a simple twist of his wrist, he disconnected something, and the drone went limp. "Sorry about that," Dave said, tossing the disabled drone back to the stunned Zendars. "These TX-480 models have a tendency to overload when exposed to certain EM frequencies. Might want to update the shielding." He took another bite of his corn dog as if nothing had happened. Vex's mandibles dropped open. The human had moved faster than their visual tracking systems could follow, and had disabled advanced technology with his bare hands, all while protecting his snack food. "Where were we?" Dave asked cheerfully. "Oh right, introductions. Like I said, I'm Dave from Earth. I hear you folks have some questions about our planet?" The council chamber remained frozen in shock. Dave stood there, casually finishing his corn dog as if he hadn't just neutralized a security drone that would have taken a squad of trained soldiers to handle. "Ambassador," High Counselor Omix finally spoke, her crystalline form glittering under the chamber lights. "Perhaps you misunderstood the gravity of this diplomatic summit? This is the first official contact between Earth and the Galactic Council and—" "Oh, I get it," Dave nodded, dropping his corn dog stick into a pocket. "You expected someone in a fancy suit with a bunch of advisors whispering in their ear. That's not really how we do things." He walked forward, flip-flops making a distinctive slapping sound against the marble floor. Several delegates flinched at each step. "See, we had a vote back home. Everyone agreed. Send someone real. Someone who can show you who we actually are, not some polished diplomatic version." Dave grinned. "I teach high school physics when I'm not on vacation. Got drafted because I won the planetary lottery." Vex blinked all four eyes in confusion. "Your planet selected its representative by random chance?" "Pretty much. We figured anyone from Earth could handle this job. Dave shrugged. We're all used to extreme conditions, after all. The Paxton delegate, a being evolved from apex predators, leaned forward. We have studied your Earth extensively. The conditions are incomprehensible. Massive tectonic instability, extreme temperature variations, lethal radiation from your star, aggressive microorganisms, and predatory megafauna. How do you survive? Dave looked genuinely confused. It's just home, you know? Tuesday might bring a hurricane, Wednesday an earthquake. You just adapt. I keep emergency supplies in my car trunk like everyone else. A murmur rippled through the chamber. The casual dismissal of conditions that would annihilate most species was unsettling. Perhaps, suggested Vex carefully, we should proceed to the formal presentation of Earth's petition for recognition? Sure thing, Dave agreed. Though I should mention, we're not really petitioning. Earth is formally requesting mutual recognition and trade opportunities, but we're doing fine either way. This caused another stir. Most planets begged for council, membership for the protection it offered. You misunderstand, Counselor Omic said. Without council protection, your world is vulnerable too. Dave smiled, but something changed in his expression. For the first time, the council glimpsed something beneath the casual exterior, something ancient and dangerous. With all due respect, Counselor, Earth doesn't need protection. The 3 mining corporations that approached our system last year discovered that pretty quickly. The chamber went deadly silent. The missing Ordovician mining fleet, one of the most powerful corporate armadas in the galaxy, had disappeared without a trace. That was you? Whispered a Medusan representative. They didn't take our first warning seriously, Dave said simply. Or our second. The third one stuck, though. He stretched, completely at ease. Look, we're not here to threaten anyone. We just want to make it clear where we stand. Earth is open to friendship, trade, cultural exchange, all that good stuff. But we handle our own protection. Vex noticed with alarm that many of the most militant council species were now watching Dave with newfound respect. The casual flip-flops and finished corn dog no longer seemed absurd. They seemed like the confidence of a predator so deadly it had nothing to prove. Perhaps, Vex suggested carefully, we should adjourn to the diplomatic reception hall? We've prepared refreshments according to human biochemistry. Dave brightened. That sounds great. I could use something to wash down that corn dog. As they filed out of the chamber, delegates kept a noticeable distance from the human. Word of the security drone incident had spread rapidly. Dave seemed oblivious to the effect he was having, stopping occasionally to admire architectural features or introduce himself to startled representatives. In the reception hall, a grand buffet displayed foods from across the galaxy, including a small section of Earth cuisine prepared at great expense by importing specialized ingredients. Dave approached this section and frowned. Is that caviar and foie gras? We researched your planet's most prestigious cuisines, Vex explained proudly. Dave laughed. That's fancy restaurant stuff. Nobody eats that regularly. He turned to a nervous server. Any chance you've got the ingredients for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? The catering staff looked horrified at the diplomatic crisis unfolding. Vex quickly intervened. Perhaps Ambassador Dave would enjoy a tour of our botanical gardens while we prepare alternate refreshments? Sure thing, Dave agreed easily. And seriously, just Dave is fine. The botanical gardens showcased specimens from thousands of worlds, carefully maintained in specialized environmental chambers. The tour guide, a plant-based life form named Floem, trembled slightly as she led Dave through. And here we have our pride, specimens from 17 Class 9 death worlds, Floem explained, gesturing to a heavily fortified containment unit. The most extreme plant life in the known galaxy, requiring constant monitoring due to their aggressive growth patterns and toxicity. Dave peered through the reinforced glass. Hey, that's a tomato plant. And those are jalapenos. We grow these in elementary school gardens as projects for kids. Floem's leaves wilted in shock. These specimens secrete neurotoxins and caustic acids. Well, yeah, Dave nodded. The jalapenos are spicy, that's the point. And tomato leaves are a bit toxic, but the fruits are fine. We put them on sandwiches. He pointed to another specimen. That's mint. It smells amazing. We put it in tea and desserts. Floem looked faint. That specimen has overtaken 3 containment units. Its growth pattern is unstoppable. That's mint for you, Dave chuckled. Gardening 101 back home? Never plant mint unless you want it everywhere. As they continued the tour, Dave casually identified deadly plants as common garden vegetables, landscaping flowers, or cooking herbs. When they reached a specially isolated chamber containing a small tree, multiple warning signs indicating extreme danger, Dave burst out laughing. That's a lemon tree. We have one in our backyard. My daughter makes lemonade from it. Vex, who had joined the tour, stared in disbelief. Your offspring handles Class 11 acidic botanical specimens? She's 8. It's her little business during summer. Very entrepreneurial, Dave said proudly. The implications were sinking in for everyone present. Humans didn't just survive on their death world. They cultivated the deadliest specimens for children to play with. They consumed toxins for pleasure. Their recreational plants would overrun most civilized worlds. I'm starting to think, Dave said thoughtfully, that our definitions of dangerous might be pretty different. Vex could only nod weakly. The casual attitude toward what the rest of the galaxy considered existential threats was perhaps the most alien thing about humans. So, Dave clapped his hands together. About that peanut butter and jelly sandwich? The diplomatic reception continued with an undercurrent of tension. Dave had been provided with his requested peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which several xenobiologists were now studying with intense interest from a safe distance. The combination of toxic legume paste and fermented fruit spread was apparently a childhood staple on Earth. Ambassador Dave, began Counselor Omix, approaching cautiously, we have reviewed your planet's resource assessment. There seems to be some confusion about your export capabilities. Dave took a sip from his drink, plain water, the only beverage he recognized. What's the confusion? You've listed metals like iron, aluminum, and titanium as abundant common resources available for trade. These are precious strategic metals on most worlds. Oh, Dave nodded in understanding. Yeah, Earth has tons of that stuff. We use aluminum for disposable food containers sometimes. Iron's everywhere. Our planet's core is mostly iron. A nearby delegate choked on their beverage. Furthermore, continued Omix, you've listed deuterium and helium-3 as potential energy exports. These are among the most valuable fuel sources in the galaxy, Dave shrugged. We've got oceans full of deuterium, and we've been harvesting helium-3 from the moon for decades. We mostly use antimatter and fusion for our big energy needs now, so we've got surplus. The casual mention of antimatter production, technology most council races considered nearly mythological, caused another stir among the assembled delegates. I think, said Vex carefully, many worlds would be extremely interested in trading with Earth. Great, Dave smiled. That's why I'm here, though we're picky about who we trade with. Big on human rights, environmental protections, that sort of thing. Before Vex could respond, a commotion broke out near the entrance. A delegation of Kreks had arrived, massive arthropoid beings known for their aggressive territorial expansion. The Kreks ambassador, flanked by heavily armed guards, approached Dave directly. So this is the human, the Kreks ambassador clicked, translator converting his mandible speech to standard Galactic. Not impressive. Your world occupies valuable space in a strategic sector. The Kreks Dominion has been patient, but perhaps it is time to discuss proper management of your resources. The room fell silent. The Kreks were notorious for their barely veiled threats and subsequent invasions of mismanaged worlds. Dave took another bite of his sandwich, chewing thoughtfully before responding. Proper management, huh? That's an interesting perspective. From a species that strip-mined their own moon to extinction. The Kreks ambassador's exoskeleton flushed dark red with anger. You would do well to show respect, human. The Kreks Dominion has conquered worlds that would make your death world seem like a paradise. Conquered, sure, Dave nodded. But have you ever actually fought anything that evolved on Earth? Even our microbes are lethal to most species. Our common cold once wiped out an entire Centaurian research team, if I remember correctly. Vex winced. The Centaurian incident was classified information. Yet this supposedly random lottery-selected human knew about it. Are you threatening the Dominion? The Kreks demanded. Dave's expression remained pleasant, but his eyes hardened. Not at all. Just making conversation about evolutionary biology. For instance, did you know that humans evolved as persistence? Hunters? Before we had technology, we would chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. We can regulate our temperature through sweating, which lets us run for days with minimal rest. He took another casual bite. Most predator species are sprinters, all aggression and no stamina. Interesting difference, don't you think? The implied message wasn't subtle. Humans could outlast their enemies, wearing them down through sheer persistence. We also developed this interesting trait, Dave continued conversationally, of forming strong social bonds and going to extraordinary lengths to protect each other. Attack one human, and you might find yourself dealing with all of us. Fascinating from an evolutionary standpoint. The Krex ambassador's guard shifted uncomfortably. Everyone in the room understood what was happening. The human was issuing a warning, packaged as casual scientific observation. Well, the Krex ambassador finally said, backing away slightly. These are interesting biological perspectives, aren't they? Dave agreed cheerfully. I love these cross-cultural exchanges. We should talk more about evolutionary adaptations sometime. As the Krex delegation retreated to the far side of the room, Vex realized he'd been holding his breath. Sorry about that, Dave said quietly. I know you were hoping for smoother diplomacy, but it's better to establish boundaries early. With certain types, Vex could only nod in agreement. As the reception continued, Dave became the focal point of the gathering despite his casual attire. Delegates who had initially kept their distance now approached cautiously, curiosity overcoming apprehension. The human answered questions with disarming honesty, occasionally shocking the assembled diplomats. You allow predatory animals in your dwellings? Asked a horrified Neb delegate after Dave mentioned his pet dog. Dogs aren't predators anymore. Well, not primarily, Dave explained. We've been partners for thousands of years. They protect us, we protect them. Max, that's my dog, sleeps on my bed. But they have teeth designed for tearing flesh. So do we, Dave grinned, pointing to his canines. Evolution gives you the tools, but culture decides how you use them. Later, a group of scientific advisors cornered Dave with questions about Earth's gravity. Our research indicates humans develop in approximately 1G, said a Vorlon physicist, her tentacles manipulating a holographic display. How do you manage space travel? Most species require extensive adaptation for even 0.2G variations. Dave shrugged. We're pretty adaptable. Our astronauts handle 0G fine after a brief adjustment period. Some bone density loss with prolonged exposure, but nothing serious. Our Mars colonists adapted to 0.38G within a generation. And higher gravities? Pressed another scientist. Uncomfortable but manageable. I did my graduate research on Europa. The research station was set at 1.5G to help prevent muscle atrophy during long deployments. You get used to it. The scientists exchanged glances. Most council species required life support technology to survive even minor gravitational differences. As evening approached, the diplomatic event shifted to a formal dinner. Dave had been convinced to change into proper diplomatic attire, though he had compromised by keeping his flip-flops, claiming they were ceremonial footwear representing Earth's beach culture. Seated at the high table between Vex and Counselor Omix, Dave marveled at the exotic foods. This is amazing. What's this blue stuff? It tastes like seafood, but sweeter. Crystallized Aquean coral polyps, Vex explained. A delicacy that takes 20 years to culture properly. Dave nodded appreciatively. Reminds me of lobster. We boil those alive sometimes. Several nearby delegates stopped eating, looking disturbed. For humane reasons, Dave clarified quickly. It's actually the fastest way to… You know what? Never mind. Probably not great dinner conversation. Counselor Omix delicately changed the subject. Ambassador, many are curious about Earth's defensive capabilities. Your file mentions something called mutually assured destruction as a historical concept? Dave nodded, becoming serious. Not our finest moment. For about a century, we pointed thousands of nuclear weapons at each other. Any major conflict would have ended human civilization. How did you survive such instability? Asked a fascinated security analyst. We came close to the edge a few times, Dave admitted. Eventually, we realized we needed to channel that energy elsewhere. That's when our space program really took off, literally. Nothing unites humans like a common challenge or a common enemy. Something about his tone made several delegates shift uncomfortably. Of course, Dave continued cheerfully. That's ancient history now. These days we're much more focused on building than destroying. Though we maintain certain capabilities, just in case. In case of what? Someone asked. Dave's smile remained friendly, but his eyes held that same ancient depth they'd glimpsed earlier. In case we meet anyone who only understands strength. Fortunately, the council seems full of reasonable folks. The conversation moved to lighter topics, but the message had been received. Earth came in peace, but was prepared for alternatives. Servers cleared the main course. Vex leaned toward Dave. You're not what we expected, Ambassador. I get that a lot, Dave chuckled. What were you expecting? Someone more intimidating? Given your planet's classification? Dave looked thoughtful. You know, that might be the most dangerous thing about humans. We don't look threatening. We don't have claws or armored exoskeletons or venomous spines. We look soft compared to most species here. He gestured around the room. But we survived a world that would kill most of you within minutes. Not because we're physically imposing, but because we're adaptable. We learn, we build tools, we cooperate, and when threatened. He left the thought unfinished, but he didn't need to complete it. The casual human in flip-flops suddenly seemed far more dangerous than any heavily armed delegation. The formal dinner concluded with a series of ceremonial toasts. Each species had its own ritual. The Vorlon delegation released bioluminescent spores into the air, while the crystalline omics vibrated at harmonic frequencies that made the glassware. When it came time for Earth's turn, Dave stood with his water glass raised. On Earth, we keep these simple, he said. To new friendships, new possibilities, and a peaceful future among the stars. The straightforward sentiment was refreshingly uncomplicated after hours of elaborate diplomatic doublespeak. Many delegates found themselves genuinely appreciating the humans' directness. After dinner, the gathering moved to the observatory dome, where the nighttime display showed a real-time holographic projection of the galaxy. Thousands of stars twinkled above them, with council worlds highlighted in blue. This is incredible, Dave said, staring upward. We have planetariums back home, but nothing this detailed. High Counselor Omix glided to his side. Earth would appear here, she said, gesturing to an unremarkable yellow star in the Orion spur. With a gesture, she magnified the image until Earth came into view. A blue-green marble wrapped in wispy clouds. Doesn't look like a death world from up here, Dave commented softly. Few dangerous things advertise their nature, Omix observed. Ambassador, I must admit, I've been analyzing you throughout this evening. You present yourself as casual, even, naive, yet you navigate complex diplomatic waters with surprising skill. Dave shrugged. I'm just being myself. Sometimes that's the best strategy. Indeed, I find myself wondering if your selection was truly random, or if Earth specifically chose someone who would disarm us with apparent harmlessness while delivering quite pointed messages. For the first time, Dave looked genuinely amused. That gives us way too much credit for strategic thinking. The lottery was real. I was eating that corn dog on the Santa Monica Pier when I got the notification. Had about 30 minutes to pack a bag before teleportation. Then you are a natural diplomat, Omix said, not entirely convinced. I'm a high school teacher, Dave reminded her. I deal with 30 teenagers every day, each convinced they're immortal and know everything. After that, interspecies diplomacy is pretty straightforward. Before Omix could respond, an aide rushed over, whispering urgently to her. Her crystalline structure darkened with concern. Is something wrong? Dave asked. Situation has developed, Omix admitted reluctantly. A deep space monitoring station has detected an unidentified object entering council space at impossible velocities. Its trajectory suggests it's heading for Earth, Dave finished, suddenly alert. Can I see the data? Surprised by his quick deduction, Omix led him to a private monitoring station where technical experts were reviewing incoming telemetry. This doesn't make sense, a Medusan analyst was saying. Nothing should be able to move at that speed without creating a bow shock that would be detectable across 3 sectors. Dave studied the displays, his casual demeanor evaporating. Those readings, they're familiar. Can you enhance the spectral analysis? The technicians complied, bringing up detailed energy readings. I thought so, Dave said grimly. That's one of ours. One of yours? Vex had joined them, mandibles clicking anxiously. Earth possesses vessels that can achieve such velocities? Not a vessel, Dave corrected. A prototype defense platform, self-deploying, designed to respond to potential threats. It appears someone back home got nervous when my communication schedule was delayed. The implications hit the Council representatives like a physical blow. Earth had deployed autonomous defense technology that outclassed anything in the known galaxy, and they had done it casually, as a precautionary measure. Can you call it off? Omix asked carefully. Dave nodded, pulling a simple device from his pocket. Standard emergency communicator. Gives me direct access to Earth Defense Command. He tapped a sequence of commands. This is Ambassador Dave. Authorization code, Tango Echo Alpha, Charlie, Hotel, Echo, Romeo. The diplomatic mission is proceeding. Normally. Stand down, Guardian Platform Alpha. Repeat, stand down. The assembled council members watched in nervous silence as Dave waited for confirmation. Platform acknowledges, Dave finally said, showing them a simple green light on his device. It's reversing course. Ambassador, Vex said slowly, I believe this demonstration, intentional or not, has made quite an impression on the council. Dave looked genuinely apologetic. This wasn't planned, I assure you. Standard protocol when a diplomatic mission misses 2 check-ins. I was just having such a good time I forgot to call home. Somehow, the casual explanation made it even more terrifying. Earth had that kind of firepower on standby, triggered by something as simple as a missed phone call. Perhaps, Dave suggested, we should get back to the reception? I was hoping to try that blue dessert everyone's been talking about, as, if nothing had happened, he headed back toward the main gathering, flip-flops slapping against the polished floor. The following morning, the council convened for its final session with the Earth representative. The chamber had a different energy now, respect mingled with caution. No one was focusing on Dave's casual attire anymore. Before we conclude, High Counselor Omix announced, we must address Earth's formal status. The Diplomatic Committee has prepared a standard probationary membership agreement for Ambassador Dave's consideration. Vex presented Dave with an ornate data crystal. This contains the full terms. Essentially, Earth would gain observer status for 50 standard cycles, with limited trading rights and diplomatic presence. Dave accepted the crystal with a polite nod, but didn't immediately agree as expected. I appreciate the offer, but Earth isn't seeking membership at this time. A murmur of surprise rippled through the chamber. Probationary membership was considered a great honor, especially for a newly contacted world. Instead, Dave continued, we're proposing a mutual recognition treaty and open trade agreement, equal standing, effective immediately. That's unprecedented, Vex stammered. Only founding members have direct treaty relationships without a probationary period. Dave shrugged. Earth is an unprecedented case, wouldn't you agree? We've been spacefaring for over a century. We have colonies throughout our system and settlements on 3 exoplanets. We've demonstrated technological capabilities on par with any council member. He paused, letting his words sink in. More importantly, we've demonstrated that we pose no threat to the council, unless threatened first. The chamber fell silent, as delegates processed the implications. The human wasn't begging for acceptance. He was negotiating as an equal. May I suggest a recess to consider Earth's proposal? Counselor Omix finally said. While the council deliberated in private, Dave waited in a luxurious anteroom. Vex joined him there, curiosity overcoming protocol. Ambassador, if I may ask, was this your plan all along, to leverage Earth's perceived danger into diplomatic advantage? Dave looked up from his handheld device, where he'd been showing pictures of his family to a fascinated aide. Not really. I came with an open mind, but yesterday made it clear that many species see us primarily as a potential threat. He sighed. That's not the relationship we want. If some see us as dangerous no matter what, we might as well use that perception to establish proper respect from the beginning. It's like teaching. Set clear boundaries early, and the whole year goes smoother. A educational approach to interstellar diplomacy, Vex mused. Unusual, but I cannot argue with the results. 3 hours later, the council reconvened. Chati, Councillor Omix's crystalline form sparkled with formal intensity. After careful deliberation, the council accepts Earth's proposal for direct treaty relations. Her voice carried throughout the chamber. Furthermore, we propose the establishment of a specialized Death World Affairs Committee, with Earth's representative as permanent chair. Dave blinked in surprise. I'm honored, but Death World Affairs? There are 17 known worlds classified as extreme condition, Ambassador, Omix explained. Species may yet evolve there that could join the galactic community. Earth's experience would be invaluable in establishing contact when that time comes. Dave nodded slowly. We accept, though I should mention I won't be the permanent representative. I'm due back at school when the fall semester starts. I have seniors, counting on me for their physics requirements. This casual reminder that the human would return to teaching juveniles after negotiating interstellar treaties left many delegates speechless. The formal signing ceremony was brief. As Dave pressed his thumbprint to the document, officially establishing Earth as a recognized independent power, Vex couldn't help but reflect on the strange journey. Ambassador, he said quietly as they left the chamber, I must admit when you first arrived in those foot coverings, eating that impaled food item, I had serious doubts about the success of this mission. Dave laughed. First impressions can be deceiving. For what it's worth, you've been a great host, Vex. Earth won't forget that. As they reached the teleportation bay where Dave would return home, he paused. Oh, I almost forgot. He reached into his bag and pulled out several small packages, gifts from Earth, corndog mix, just add water, and flip-flops for everyone on the diplomatic team. They're really comfortable once you get used to them. Vex accepted the strange offerings with all the gravity of a sacred relic. They will be displayed with honor in the Council's cultural repository. Or you could just wear them on casual Fridays, Dave suggested with a wink. Much more practical. With a final wave, Dave stepped onto the teleportation pad, his mission complete. In just 3 days, the human in flip-flops with a corn dog had transformed the galactic political landscape, established Earth as a major power, and somehow made those ridiculous foot coverings into the most sought-after diplomatic fashion accessory in council space. As the teleportation beam engaged, Vex heard Dave's parting words. Next time, you all should visit Earth. Just remember to bring sunscreen. That's another thing we Deathworlders figured out the hard way. In a flash of light, he was gone, leaving behind a changed galaxy that would never again underestimate humans, no matter what they were wearing or eating. The end.